When we are going to cast out demons, sometimes we go like 5 of us. We enter the room. You are shaking. Even the demon will know warriors have come. You see one person stand like this. When we are fired for 40 minutes and the atmosphere starts changing, the person starts shaking because we are praying and watching. When the person starts feeling the fire, then you remove your suit, throw it somewhere, and you stand. You devil, you can't. We have come. There's nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. That's what we knew. In fact, when you spend 4 hours to cast out demons, it means you have gained rank in deliverance. In our understanding. I started reading the Bible. Jesus shows up. Before talking, they're already screaming. Why have you come before your time? I say, Sometimes he looks at them and they're out. Sometimes they are even begging him, don't cast us here, cast us there. Oh, is that how it is? What is the cure? We have to go back and study again. You need refinement. But you have to understand your shape to refine your shape. And then finally, number 4, we said purpose is impact. If you are not making impact, you are not fulfilling purpose. Most of the people we celebrate are not what celebrating. You say somebody is a president, somebody is a senator. What has he done? He has only bought Ferraris and Lamborghinis. The village where he parked them, there's no road. And because we are poverty-stricken people looking for peanuts, we are compelled to celebrate them. What are you celebrating? Somebody said he's senator for 8 years. He returned to his village. There's no road. There's no water. And then he has Ferrari. He has a G-Wagon. He has all the cars. And he's feeling important. That person should be an object of public ridicule. He knows nothing about leadership. He has wasted the time of that constituency. Somebody says he's a pastor. No impact in the lives of people. No impact in the environment. And you say you are a senior prophet. Senior how? This thing is all about impact. I showed you from Luke 4:18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. That was the only time we heard me. Me vanished. For he has anointed me to do what? Preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to bring deliverance to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, and to set at liberty them that are bruised. Purpose is about others. It's about God. It's that you are doing this too that your own meaning comes out. So purpose is very important. In addition to this, I said there are 5 other benefits. Number 1, a man of purpose has clarity. He knows where he's going. That's why he doesn't dabble in everything. When you find people who are everywhere at every time, they are going nowhere, sir. There are many people escorting others to destiny. And the way you will find it or discover it is that they are everywhere. Everything gets their attention. Everywhere is what their presence. They are going nowhere. People of purpose have clarity, and because of that they are led by the Spirit, because they yield to the one who dictates purpose. Isaiah 30:21 said, even when they are in the wrong direction, they will hear a voice behind them telling them the way to go. So purpose is important because amongst other things it brings clarity. Number 2, I said purpose is important because it brings inner peace and fulfillment. As important as resources are, and I'm going to mention it, people who fulfill purpose, even when they don't have money, they are not perturbed, because they draw their peace from their journey. I was reading to them this morning from 2 Corinthians 11 verse 23 to 27. You need to see the perils that Paul went through. Believe me, if these things happen to you, you either become an atheist or you will commit suicide. If one look at Paul's life to show you that peace is not happiness. Joy is not happiness. It's something deeper, and only people of purpose find it. He said he was talking about himself and other ministers, and he acknowledged that this is not something he does every other day. He said, are they not ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. Am I not more? He said, in labors more abundantly. He said, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in death often. This is one man's life. Yet this guy was full of joy and peace. He said, of the Jews, five times received I 40 stripes, save one. That's 39 strokes. The Jewish people flogged him 39 strokes 5 times. And then he went further. Thrice I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. People gathered to stone him to death. And then he went further. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. You have headache. You say, God, where are you? A night and a day I was in the deep. He fell into the water. No rescue for the whole night and the whole day. He became an aquatic creature, trying to survive. In journeys, often journeys, you have not traveled, you don't know what I'm saying. We who travel on business class, in aircraft, when you come back, you are stretching, you say it's not easy. These guys were trekking and traveling on donkeys. And he said he traveled often. If you read about Paul's missionary journey, you will know that people love God. Telling you, he will mention it, don't worry. He went ahead in perils of water, in perils of robbers, in perils by my own countrymen, in perils by the hidden, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren. The guy saw it all on the journey of purpose. In weariness, in painfulness, in watching, that's intercession, in hunger, in thirst, in fasting, often. You need to know there are times when there's no food, so you just call it fasting. Paul said this one is normal lifestyle. And then in coldness and in nakedness. And I told my people, I said some of these things Paul is listing here, they were all happening at the same time. So there were times when they were flogging him, he was naked, he was cold, he was hungry, and he was in prison. Yet see the way Paul described this. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 17. If you don't have peace and joy, you can't talk like Paul. He said our light affliction but for a moment. Prison is light affliction. 39 strokes 5 times, light affliction. Shipwreck, light affliction. When you find purpose, sir, nothing can break you. You will become like Mount Zion that cannot be moved. There is a peace that surpasses knowledge that purpose furnishes. That's why Jesus, speaking in John 4:34, he said, my food is to do the will of him that sent me and to fulfill it. He enjoyed life like food because he was doing the will of the Father. Number 3, I said purpose is the backbone for provision. 1 Thessalonians 5:24, it said faithful is he who has called you and he will do it. Some of us, the reason we have terrible lack is not just because the country is hard. It's because we are not fulfilling purpose. Believe me, when you start fulfilling purpose, resources will show up. I know it by experience. Most of you here, even when you are going through difficulty, something has moved you to give to me. Because when you calculate it, you just want to bless me. It's not because you love my face, sir. What I'm doing compels compliance. That's how purpose works. The Bible said Gentiles will come to your light. It said kings will come to the brightness of your rising. One of the surest way of curing lack is to fulfill purpose. When you find your purpose, strangers will build your walls. You will suck the breast of kings. I'm telling you, the reason many people are shouting and crying, they've not entered their purpose. Either they have not discovered it or they are not yet living it. They are still jumping and doing all kinds of permutations. Genuinely face your purpose and see the way God will back you up. See the way Paul will say it. Philippians 2:13 is God that worketh in us both to will and to do. There is empowerment, sir. There is provision because he's fulfilling purpose. Number 4, you fulfill purpose, influence and impact becomes a byproduct. Real purpose compels influence. Real one. You study the life of Jesus when he returned and started his missions. The Bible said the land of Zebulun, the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. Matthew 4:15, it said the people that sat in darkness have seen a great light. And Luke 4:15, the Bible said his fame went abroad. Some of us are not influential because we are cutting our hair and showing haircut. We are just preaching Jesus. And millions are following from all around the world. It gives you opportunity to impact people. And that's why I told you that if you are not impacting people, you have not found purpose. Purpose is not about self. It's about God and others. Then self will be taken care of. So it has to do with impact. And then finally, purpose procures eternal reward. Like you saw already in 2 Timothy 4:8. There remaineth for me a crown of righteousness. This is why this thing we are dealing with is so important. And you must make up your mind to begin to fulfill purpose. And I said, in order to have clarity, you need to understand what purpose is. And I said, it's not something you can just define with 1 or 2 sentences, because purpose is like a spectrum. There are many layers to it. But for you to truly understand what purpose is, there are 5 basic concepts that explains it. I said, number 1, purpose has to do with divine intention for creation. So when you find a man who is walking in purpose, he has isolated the reason for his creation. If you have not understood and isolated why you are here, then you have not understood purpose. It said in Jeremiah 1:5, before you were formed in your mother's womb, it said, before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified you, I ordained you to be a prophet. So the guy knew the intention for his creation. You can't be relevant if you don't know why you were created. Imagine if this microphone, assuming it had cognitive capacity, and then the microphone assumed it was a hammer, it will be useless. So you first of all need to know why you were created. If you have discovered why you are created, you have entered the first rung of the ladder of purpose. And then number 2, I said purpose is living out that assignment or calling which necessitated your creation. When you start living that assignment, so on one side is to discover it, on another side is to live it. You'll find many people, they tell you, this person you are seeing here is a prophet. Guess where prophet is? Prophet is among Yahoo people, swindling money. And then when you talk, you say, Kai, I'm a prophet. I had visions. My mother told me. Where are you, prophet? Yahoo. I told you one of my friends who came to me and said, God told him he is the Apostle Paul of this generation. Apostle Paul? I shook. Do you know how many apostles are in this generation? And you are the one carrying the mantle of Paul. Apostle Paul is my friend, so I won't talk much. But we are here to see Apostle Paul. It's not enough to isolate it. Live it. This is where purpose actually begins to take shape. The Bible said in Ephesians 2:10, we are his workmanship. We were created in Christ Jesus for good works. 2 Timothy 1:9, he said he has called us with an holy calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose. So we were called for an assignment. You understand purpose when you find that assignment. You understand purpose when you begin to live that assignment. And I said it doesn't stop there. You are also working in purpose when you have understood the peculiarity of your design. When you find a man of purpose, there is no doubt in understanding about who he is. Because your design, to a large extent, influences your efficacy in carrying out your assignment. This microphone is excellent at this moment because it was designed to do this. Imagine if I wanted to use this microphone for something else, perhaps to nail something. Every time I hit it, it damages, because that work is not consistent with the design. So it's not just enough to find your purpose, your intention. It's not just enough to be on the assignment. Have you understood your design? And are you refining your design so that you function at optimum capacity? There are many people who are crude. Meanwhile, as they journey in purpose, different cadres, different levels of the assignment requires different level of transformation. So when you see them, they are bragging. Nobody can intimidate me. Don't intimidate me. I refuse to be intimidated. But he's talking like somebody in the forest. We don't want to intimidate you, but okay, this is your design. You kings can't look at it. He said, Gentiles come to your light. Kings don't come to your light. They don't care about your light. Many have light. They come to the intensification, the brightness of your rising. So you must understand your design and refine it. This is the biggest problem of many people. Quite all right, they know that they should be businessmen. They have started the business, but they have not improved since they started. You meet them today, they are the 1999 version of themselves. The world has moved, no refinement. They are still talking the way they were talking in their wilderness. You need to meet us when we were in the wilderness. We were rascals in the spirit. Oh my God. Those days, even when we are preaching, see, we are responding to the fire. But Augusta, as you go global, you have to manage your temperament. You have to, because you are dealing with multiracials, multiculturals. This morning I was addressing the church in Perth. These are, they are not, if you are preaching and you are like this, what's it doing? You say it's fire, it's fire. The spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. See, sometimes you allow certain ventilation. Don't suffocate it. But don't tell me the Holy Ghost is the reason why you are preaching like this. You are not the only preacher. It's your peculiarity. It's the excess of the unrefined part of your soul. If we don't do like that, God won't move. It's a lie. That's your peculiarity. Appreciate it, acknowledge it, but learn to refine it. Don't be like you were 10 years ago, sir. Everything moves. Even Satan is refining. He was a serpent in Eden. He's a dragon in Revelation. So understand your peculiarities, develop them, improve on them, refine them. Your purpose requires that. And God will need to give you revelation to understand what I'm saying. Because usually people don't agree. When you start maturing, you will know. Those days when we used to pray in the wilderness, oh my God, we will hold the war. Oh, what they call the wailing war, we have first-hand experience. We will hold the war, and as you are vibrating, your body is shaking like this for 3 hours. When you finish, where you are will be like the pot bucket of water. You will now know that you have shaken something. Now, at that level, revelation was low, so we needed to exert. You know, when the edge of the axe is blunt, you exert more energy. So it's not wrong. We needed that level of exertion because we didn't know much. Even to cast out devils, you needed to see the brutal prayer we used to pray to cast out demons. When we are going to cast out demons, sometimes we go like 5 of us. We enter the room. You are shaking. Even the demon, we know warriors have come. You see one person stand like this. When we are fired for 40 minutes and the atmosphere starts changing, the person starts shaking because we are praying and watching. When the person starts feeling the fire, then you remove your suit, throw it somewhere, and you stand. You devil, you can't. We have come. There's nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. That's what we knew. In fact, when you spend 4 hours to cast out demons, it means you have gained rank in deliverance. In our understanding. I started reading the Bible. Jesus shows up. Before talking, they're already screaming. Why have you come before your time? I say, Sometimes he looks at them and they are out. Sometimes they are even begging him, don't cast us here, cast us there. Oh, is that how it is? What is the cure? We have to go back and study again. You need refinement. But you have to understand your shape to refine your shape. And then finally, number 4, we said purpose is impact. If you are not making impact, you are not fulfilling purpose. Most of the people we celebrate are not what celebrating. You say somebody is a president, somebody is a senator. What has he done? He has only bought Ferraris and Lamborghinis. The village where he parked them, there's no road. And because we are poverty-stricken people looking for peanuts, we are compelled to celebrate them. What are you celebrating? Somebody said he's senator for 8 years. He returned to his village. There's no road. There's no water. And then he has Ferrari. He has a G-Wagon. He has all the cars. And he's feeling important. That person should be an object of public ridicule. He knows nothing about leadership. He has wasted the time of that constituency. Somebody says he's a pastor. No impact in the lives of people. No impact in the environment. And you say you are a senior prophet. Senior how? This thing is all about impact. I showed you from Luke 4:18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. That was the only time we heard me. Me vanished. For he has anointed me to do what? Preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to bring deliverance to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, and to set at liberty them that are bruised. Purpose is about others. It's about God. It's as you are doing this too that your own meaning comes out. So if there's no impact, you don't know purpose. When we talk purpose, we talk intention for your creation. We talk walking your calling and assignment. We talk understanding your design, developing it for greater impact. Then we talk impact on others, why they glorify God for that impact. This is what purpose is about. And if you were to define purpose, this is how to define it. And then I said, finally, purpose is living now for eternity. When a man lives and his focus is eternity, when eternity influences how you live in the now, you have understood purpose. Paul said, our light affliction are but for a moment. 2 Corinthians 4:17. Why? For they work for us an exceeding weight of eternal glory. He said, why we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen, they are temporal, but the things that are unseen, they are eternal. So the reason they were living the way they were living is simply because they knew that everything they do here is what will determine who they will be, where they are going. I told you, the finished works of Christ will take you to eternity, but it's your work that will give you a place in eternity. So purpose is intent, divine intent. Purpose is assignment and calling. Purpose is shape and design. Purpose is impact on others. And purpose is living for eternity. When you understand this spectrum, and when you live according to this spectrum, you are a man of purpose. You understand what purpose is. And I said, for you to live like this, there are requirements. This is why on Tuesday, we took our time to deal with the internal requirements of purpose. And I said there were about 10 of them. Number one, I said you need intimacy with God as a basic requirement for fulfilling purpose. Jesus was speaking in John 15:5. He said, without me, you can do nothing. So the first internal requirement for fulfilling purpose is intimacy. Without me, you can do nothing. So if you want to fulfill purpose, live out your assignment, you must stay connected to him. And everybody in scripture whose life was worthwhile, check their lives. They were heavy on intimacy. The moment you start working with God, purpose begins to shine. The Bible says from the days of Enosh, men began to call upon the name of the Lord. Genesis 4:26. Immediately God's agenda began to play out. Check every generation. Noah feared God, walked with God, and found purpose to deliver his whole generation. Abraham was a man of altars. Genesis 12:6, Genesis 12:7, Genesis 13:18. The guy was erecting altars. So much so that many years after he was gone, tents had gone, but altars remained. It was his altar that opened the heaven for Jacob. Men of purpose are men of intimacy. You draw your strength, your power, your inspiration from God. So you stay connected. Number two, internal requirement for purpose. And I showed you how to build intimacy, but I'm not teaching that. I'm just running over so that you get it. In case you are joining us, I'm rounding up this teaching tonight. Number two, I said requirement for purpose is clearly isolating vision and writing it down. Habakkuk 2 from verse 1 to 2. I will stand upon my watch. I will see what he will say to me. And he said, write the vision. Make it plain upon tables, that he might run that reads it. Many have not isolated and documented their visions. There are some that have even perceived their visions, but they've not written it down. One of the principles I have, if you come to submit here or for mentorship, I tell you, where is your vision? If you have not written it, go back. You have not started, write it, bring it. It's when I see it written down, because nobody can run with it, not even you. That's why you find many people run into confusion. Vision is not written, it's not isolated, it's not written. So anything can enter, become part of the vision. You want to fulfill for purpose, you must catch your vision and you must write it down. Number three, I said discipline and diligence. The power to continue. No purpose can be fulfilled if there is no discipline and diligence. There are many people who are often momentarily inspired. So when you check them, they are up and down. They went for a revival conference, 1 month they are on fire. Check them, second month, everything is gone. They meet a man of God, praise for them, they are on fire. They go for a leadership seminar, they are inspired. And everything has short lifespan in the long spectrum of time. You can't fulfill purpose like that. If it's purpose you are thinking, you have to build discipline and diligence. Our fathers taught us, in consistency lies the power. You can never fulfill purpose without discipline, without diligence. The Bible said in Proverbs 22:29, it said, seest thou a man who is diligent in his business? It said they will stand before kings and not before men. If you study 1 Corinthians 9:27, Paul talking about discipline now. He said, I beat my body. The guy says he is going to take over the world. He saw a vision that he was sitting among the richest men on earth. He has not read any book on business. He doesn't have any mentor in business. He knows nothing about leadership. He knows nothing about financial management, but he's talking by faith that he's going to be one of the leaders in the economic sector. Oh, God called him to be a prophet, an apostle. No discipline in prayer, no discipline in study of the word, no discipline in service, no ethic, no character. Yet he has visions and he has faith. He's declaring it. When you now develop, when your hair becomes gray, you will know that you are foolish. I beat my body. Anybody who will fulfill purpose is a master of beating his body. You think we just come here and we are talking? Do you know how many years of studies? You know how many years of fasting? Do you know how many years of mentorship? When I was serving, I was like a madman. I find any book of Miles Moreau, even on the street, I empty my pocket and buy it. Studying kingdom. I read them in volumes because he specialized on kingdom, vision, and purpose. Those were his areas of expertise. I chewed it. And then I sat on Kenneth Hagin, sat on E.W. Keyon, sat on Andrew Womack, sat on Bishop David Oyedepo, sat on Pastor Chris Oyakhilome. I knew the things that defined the flair of my purpose. Ask those who are here with me. Those days, the gift we give them is when you show up, do you have a laptop? Bring it. We will give you 500 messages, 500, sometimes 1,000, depending on your capacity. Go and read it. Go and listen. We had menus per day. I used to listen to 8 hours for 8 hours those days. And that's not all. When I saw that I'm not going to do this thing in hiding, I was going to stand in the public. From books of Dali Carnegie to messages to public speakers like Barack Obama, people like Martin Luther, Winston Churchill. Sometimes you get clip of 50 seconds and you listen to it. We were reciting their speeches so that you can stand. Why do you think we are not reading books and saying God loves you? The brain had been developed. It took discipline, sir. You see us standing top. Do you know how many places I've preached in the last 20 days? There are times when every day of the week you preach for 3 weeks. And some days you preach morning and evening. Meanwhile, all of them rich and fresh. It's not just about platform. What do you have to deliver? And it doesn't happen overnight. You must train your mind. As I am like this, if I'm listening to you, even if you make a phrase, I can remember it for 10 years. When I see you, I will tell you what you said. You'll be shocked. You have developed the capacity and the competence level of the brain to be able to articulate burdens and visions and communicate them with dexterity. These things don't just happen. It takes discipline. No lazy man has a part in his destiny. You can write that down. No lazy man, I tell you. The Bible said, the hand of the diligent shall be a rule. You must exercise discipline and diligence in every compartment of your destiny. That's what purpose requires. Number 4, I meet some pastors, they tell you church is not growing. While they are talking to you, you know why the church is not growing. They know nothing about church growth. Even the way they met you shows lack of ethic and discipline. They are talking, you are wondering, is it the way you talk? Who will come to that church? Build discipline. That's why some of you for 5 years, God puts you under difficult and pressured paths to chisel laxity, to chisel procrastination, and all of those weaknesses out of your life. This generation, attention span has even reduced to less than 5 minutes. You hardly see people who can sit on one thing for 1 hour. Hardly. So it's even worse now. That's why all kinds of mental disorder is showing up every day. No capacity. Number 4, I said patience and endurance. And why is that so? Because there are certain things that until the season comes, they won't happen. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. They say for everything under the sun, there is a season. And a time for every purpose under heaven. Every purpose has time. So even if you have prepared yourself, you will require patience to be able to inherit the promise. Hebrews 10:36 said, you need to have perseverance so that when you have done all, you might receive the promise. Kenneth Hagin taught us many years ago, he said, it's better to wait than to rush and mess things up. It's better. So you must manage yourself well. Wait for your time. If you lack the character of patience, you may never fulfill purpose. You keep messing things up. You'll find many people, they want to kill everybody, that they too should have a platform. And when they talk, you are wondering, what do you want to do with the platform? You will embarrass yourself. know somebody those days who was under pressure, him too want to preach. So they invited me, I couldn't go, and I recommended him. The woman said, is it that person? Don't worry, we will handle it ourselves. Develop patience. Let your refining be complete.